Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to discuss the information needed to perform a comprehensive data analysis. So in order to perform, a data analysis, you're going to need a certain amount of information. Now, I did previously discuss, data when we talk about quantitative data. Quantitative data means, we need to pull the numbers. We need to look at the numbers. We need to look at the data, right? In terms of the statistics, if you will. Now, we also need to look at the qualitative data. The qualitative data is the interview, is the surveys. And one thing I always explain in all business, whether it's HR, whether it's operations management, whether it's supply chain management, we need to take a mixed methods approach. And a mixed methods approach is essentially where we're taking both the quantitative data and the qualitative data to inform us of a decision. Okay. So when you're performing a job analysis, you need to first examine, what activities must be accomplished. So whenever we talked about, in the first week and in the first slide, in the first video within this week, we talked about the objectives. So you need to see what are the objectives of that particular role. Okay. You also need to understand what procedures need to be followed. So when we say procedures, what tasks need to be followed? What steps must be performed to effectively perform this duty, right? Complete that task. Okay. You also need to understand what the processes that are going to be used. So processes, we also refer to processes as standard operating procedures. You will also see that referred to as SOPs. Okay. And those are the processes that individuals of the organizations have laid out to say, okay, the first step is this, second step is this, third step is this, fourth step is this. So now you can lay out all those processes, and that is also very important during the onboarding process so that the individuals know exactly what has to be done within that particular job activity. Okay. So the list of job activities also should include, the machines, the tools that are needed to operate a certain task. So to ensure that those people, those candidates have experience with operating that machinery, with performing those tasks, with using that software program so that those candidates can essentially hit the ground running. Okay. Also, you need to outline any kind of tools that would have to be purchased. You need to understand any kind of training that would be required. You need to describe any kind of licenses that would be required. And that is going to make this review process a whole lot easier for both the interviewee and the interviewer. Okay. So whenever we're describing the work performance, it's important to identify any kind of standards that would be required for that particular role. And all of that information should be discussed with that hiring manager so that it is clearly communicated within that job posting. Okay. So also all the information. So whenever we're talking about a job posting, if you went on monster.com, career builder, currently a lot of employers list things on LinkedIn. For those postings, you need to be as descriptive as possible. That way you're not going to leave anything open for interpretation. And the more information that is shared with the candidates, I would say the better quality candidates you're going to receive for that particular role within the organization. So moving on to the different methods. So going from the information that needs to be included for a job analysis, now we're moving on to the tools that are used, the tools and the methods that are going to be used for a job analysis. And there are many different methods that are going to be used in performing a job analysis. Now, I would say that there is no one size fits all approach in performing a job analysis. But some of those we briefly touched on already. But questionnaires is one thing where, if we are looking for a new role, for some of those employees that are working in that department, for some of those employees that are currently in that role, right? Going back to what we explained before, if you explain the why, to say, okay, we're bringing in more employees within your department, and the more as we add to your team, we're going to lighten the workload from your role, from your job, right? If you explain the why, if you explain how it's going to make their job easier, they're going to have buy-in to bring in more employees within their department. Okay, so once you explain the why, then you can actually issue a questionnaire to say, okay, what roles and responsibilities should we be adding to this job analysis? What roles and activities should we be adding to the job description? Okay, so now not only are you getting the insights from the hiring manager, but you're actually getting feedback from the people that are performing that activity day in and day out. Okay, other information or other tools, other methods that can be used is employee logs or journals. So in certain industries, there are logs where employees would actually keep track of all the activities that they have performed during a particular shift. Now, given that is the property of the organization, then you would be able to pull that information. You would be able to review that information, and you would be able to track that qualitative data. That is qualitative data that you could review, and then you could pull information from that to add to the job analysis. Another qualitative tool and approach or method that can be used is interviews. So interviews are one of the tools that I like to do, in that you can interview those people, once again, that are performing that activity day in and day out, to get a good idea of what that job is going to entail. Also, you're going to find information to understand how you can improve that particular job. What tools do they need to perform their job more efficiently and more effectively? So interviews is another approach that is very helpful. Also, going into a job analysis schedule. So a job analysis schedule is kind of a methodical approach, where the job analysis schedule where you would actually gather information on that data, right? You would actually track that information, and it's more of a like I said before, a methodical approach, and more of a tracking approach, and more of a graphing approach to see how you can improve on your job analysis. Okay. Also, similar to a job analysis, which is going to be a higher level, then you also have a position analysis questionnaire, where you can create this questionnaire, and you can ask those employees questions based on that particular individual position, right? So you would ask questions such as, how long does it take to complete a particular task, right? What's the importance of your job? Are there particular tasks that can be removed from that particular job? Are there particular tasks that can be added to your particular job? So it's a questionnaire down to that position level. Okay. Now, those questionnaires can uncover a lot of valid information. And not only should that job analysis be done to hire new employees, but that position analysis questionnaire, that job analysis schedule, should be one thing that is used for continuous improvement initiatives within an organization. Also, you have a management position description questionnaire, and these questionnaires are more for managerial roles, where you can ask from a management position, what are some of the things that can be improved upon? What are some of the oversights, issues that you've seen? What are some of the areas for improvement that can be implemented from a management perspective? So once again, there is no one size fits all approach, and based on the organization, based on the environment, based on the people, you can choose some or all of these methods and approaches to create a more effective and efficient workforce and environment. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.